I was leaning over the sink scrubbing dishes, and Emily stumbled into the kitchen, mascara streaming down her 12-year-old cheeks. Her biological father had missed her school recital again, third time that semester, and this time it felt like the final straw. She collapsed against me, her small body shaking with sobs. And I knew in that moment nothing would ever be the same. She pulled back, eyes red but resolute, and took my hands in hers. "I want you to be my real dad. Will you adopt me and give me your last name?" Her voice trembled, but never wavered. At that instant I felt a weight settle in my chest, equal parts honor and fear. I pulled her close and whispered yes, knowing I was agreeing to every moment that might follow. 6 months later the adoption was official, and Emily proudly took my last name. From that day on, she introduced me simply as Dad. 11 years of practices, recitals, and bedtime stories followed. At every basketball game she scanned the crowd until her gaze locked on mine, and I cheered louder than anyone. Mother taught her to drive, sitting beside her in a parking lot, gripping the door handle as she navigated tight turns, laughter and panic mingling in the air. Then came the moment no parent forgets, her college acceptance. I wrote the first tuition check, $75,000, without a second thought, because that is what fathers do. She never once called me stepdad. When her boyfriend proposed last year, I was her first call. We joked about father-daughter dance moves I had been secretly practicing since she was 13. But the story took an unexpected turn when Michael, her biological father, popped back into her life. 6 months before the wedding, he sent a LinkedIn message claiming he had turned his life around and was ready to be there for her. Emily agreed to a single coffee for closure, but one coffee turned into weekly dinners, her TikTok feed filled with clips of them together, captions about second chances and journeys of healing. Each post felt like a small betrayal, yet I swallowed my unease because she was an adult making her own choices. Wedding planning consumed our house like a fever. I covered every vendor bill, $10,000 for the venue, $12,000 for catering, $6,000 for flowers. When guest lists came up, I deferred to Emily. She named 12 because whatever made her happy mattered most. Then the invitation draft arrived, cream-colored cardstock with elegant script, and my heart sank. My name was nowhere to be found. Instead, Michael appeared as father of the bride. Sarah assured me it was just tradition, that I knew my place in Emily's heart, but I felt myself fading. The final blow came at family dinner with Emily's future in-laws. She stood and clinked her glass, radiating joy as she announced that Michael would walk her down the aisle. The room erupted in cheers about healing and forgiveness. I sat frozen, watching 11 years of devotion disappear in a moment, as if DNA trumped every memory we had built together. I couldn't stay. That night, I slipped into the garage where Emily's old skateboard still hung on the wall, the one I had spent hours running beside, promising I would never let go. Beneath it lay boxes of her art show ribbons and Father's Day cards signed to the best dad. I stared at those tokens of trust and realized my role no longer mattered. By the time they woke, I had canceled the vendor checks, packed my bags, and left a simple note. I kept my promise when you needed me. Now Michael can pay for the wedding. Sarah's calls came instantly, followed by dozens of frantic texts from Emily. She begged me not to overreact, to understand, to come back. I did not respond. After a few weeks, the messages slowed until silence took their place. I believed the story had ended until the wedding day itself. That morning, my phone exploded with missed calls. Listened in disbelief to Emily's voicemail, her voice cracking as she sobbed that Michael had not shown up and she needed me to keep my promise. I typed back once, "I already gave you to Michael, remember?" Sarah's replies turned vicious, demanding how I could abandon my daughter at the worst moment, but I did not waver. She was not my daughter anymore, at least not on paper. I later heard that her cousin walked her down the aisle while she cried through every step. Michael vanished again, never to resurface, leaving her heartbroken on the happiest day of her life. By then, I was living in another city, far enough away that no one could guilt me into reconsidering. Sometimes I wonder if Emily remembers that 12-year-old girl who begged me to adopt her, who promised I would be there on her wedding day. I kept every promise I made, but she chose another path. Blood binds, they say, but loyalty defines true family. And that thought stays with me every time I wash a dish or hear a father-daughter dance playing in a distant hall.